How to estimate Azure cost for Lakeflow Declarative pipelines for real-time projects? So first we need to go to pricing calculator in Azure, and then we can select that what are the instances we are going to use. The first instance we want is Databricks, right? So we can search Databricks. Okay, once we search Databricks and add to estimate, and it's adding in the estimate. Once coming to estimate, we have to choose that which region we are going to use our Databricks, and then workload. We have various workload type. We are going to choose delta like tables, and then tier we have standard premium, but in this case we have only premium, and type we have core, pro, advanced, but we are selecting core. And category we can select all category, or if you want to choose particular category we can choose it. And right now I'm selecting all category, and instance series I'm going to select DAS v5, and then we can select that we are selecting. So nominal cluster, maybe I'm going to select 128 GB RAM and then 32 CPUs, and assume that we are running for all 730 hours. That means you are running 24/7. It's a continuous mode, but we are not going to do continuous mode. We want to select only 300 hours. I assume that daily 10 hours I'm running. Okay, Databricks unit also we have to select that. For that 300 hours instead of 730 hours. Okay, I have selected 300 hours, so that this is for one node, but actually we need at least 5 nodes, one node for driver and 4 for worker. So I am selecting total 5 nodes. Now the cost become 5932. Okay, so now we have a Azure Databricks instances ready, but what are the else we required for any real-time project? So we need a storage as well, right? So let's go and search storage. Okay, so we are going to add the storage also in our Azure cost estimation. So now I've added Azure storage, and here I'm going to select same region, and then I'm going to use the data lake storage gen 2 here. Okay, once I've selected, and then tier we can go with standard because it's too costly premium, and we are going to select hot tier, and here hierarchical namespace is very important, we are going to enable it. And here capacity I'm selecting TB around 10 TBs of data, so I'm going to select 10 TB. Correct. So now if I select reservation 3 years, 1 year, that accordingly it will change. So now we are going with pay as you go mode. Okay, and what is my monthly cost? It's around 216. Okay, now we have selected the storage account. The next thing is we want to create, I'm selecting the pay as you go model, right? So now Databricks is ready, storage account is ready. What else we need? We need a SQL compute. Okay, so my downstream users, whoever wants to consume the data, they will consume via SQL compute, and that will run for all 24/7, right? So that is the reason I'm going to use Azure Databricks again, and I'm going to choose the region where central US, and then here I'm going to use SQL compute, SQL Pro compute, both are there. So I'm going to choose SQL compute, and here I'm going to choose medium. Okay, and how many instances I'm going to run? One instance, and let's assume that all 24/7 it's running for one compute, and this cost around. Okay, so this is coming around, see, 9557. Okay, medium cluster. And the next one is we want to run as a job, right? So for that I'm going to use job compute, because I'm going to run as a batch mode, right? DLT pipeline has to be triggered via job cluster. So that is the reason I'm selecting the job compute, and then I'm selecting the DAV5, and I'm going to select very minimal instance. Okay, 16 GB RAM, and assume that we are running only 10 hours, right? So accordingly I can choose it. Okay, so here I'm selected a very minimal compute, and then I'm going to use uh, the 16 GB, and then I'm going to use for my overall cost. It comes around 15K per month. Okay, so the next step, I can export this into Excel sheet, and I can see that what is there in my expo estimate. Okay, so how it is my data look like. So this we can share it to the client or anybody, how it is the data gets populated. We can see that. Okay, so we can just expand and see that what was my cost we have calculated. So 15963. See, this is how we will calculate, but we can change the size once you are doing the actual project. We can change the size.